So we've got a bit of data handling coming up in this question here. So talking about averages, ranges and interquartile ranges, and then a bit of comparisons. So first question wants me to calculate median and interquartile range of a set of data. It then gives me the same results for a second set of data and asks me to compare the two of them and make two valid comments comparing the ages of the readers of the magazine and the readers of the newspaper. So let's approach this question by first completing A and then using that answer to help with B. So I want to get the median and the interquartile range of the ages in here. So first thing I need to do is I need to write the list in order. So I'm going to write it out in order from lowest to highest. So 31, I've then got 33. You can cross them out as you go just to avoid any confusion as you work through and as you make your list of data. Remember, we're looking to make our life as easy as we possibly can. Now, key thing to remember as well, there's two 41s there, so you have to write them both down. Doesn't matter that there's a bit of data repeated. They both still have to go because they both count as singular pieces of data. So I've got that there. Now, the median is the middle of an ordered set of numbers. So in this set of numbers, I've got 10 readers' ages. Now, there's a quick way of finding out the position of your median. If I take the total number of bits of data, so 10, and I add 1, and then divide my answer by 2, what I'm going to get is 11 divided by 2, so I'm going to get 5.5. Now, what that tells me is that the median is halfway between the 5th and the 6th bit of data. So if I find out the 5th bit, I find out the 6th bit, I can then find the median by finding the middle of those. Well, if I count up the data, 2, 4, there's my 5th bit, there's my 6th bit. So to get the median, what I do is I do 38 plus the 41 and then divide my answer by 2. So 38 plus 41 is 79. Divide 79 by 2 and you get 39.5. So the median age there is 39.5 years old. What we then want to do is find the interquartile range. Now, in order to do that, I'm going to split my list in the middle by cutting down there, and I'm going to find the middle bit of data in each of these. This will give me the lower quartile and upper quartile. Then the interquartile range is the upper quartile, take away the lower quartile, and that'll give me the spread of the middle 50% of the data. So if I cut it down the middle where I've indicated, the middle of the bottom half is 35. The middle of the upper half is 42. So they're my other two quartiles, which then means the interquartile range, so what we're going to call the IQR, is equal to 42 take away 35, which is 7. So that tells me that 50% of the data, the middle half of the data, lies within 7 years of each other. It's within a 7-year gap. Now remember, the bonus of something like this is it gets rid of any really extreme values that could skew an overall range and discussion about the consistency of data. So that's why this could be beneficial to use at times. So that's part A answered. Now if I look at part B, it's telling me the median age of the sample of a newspaper company was 41 and the interquartile range was 9. And it wants me to make two valid comments comparing the ages of the readers of the magazine and the ages of the reader of the newspaper. Now when it does something like this and it asks you for two valid comments, you want one comment to talk about on average and you want one comment to talk about consistency. So if I make one comment to look on average, I would make a comment along the lines of, on average, the ages of the magazine readers is lower. But I could also look at it from the other perspective as well. So I could also have said that on average, the ages of the newspapers, so the ages of the newspaper readers is older. So I could look at it from either of those two perspectives. The bottom line is I have to make one of those comments on it. We can then look at the range. So we can look at comparing the range of the two sets of data now at this point. Now when it comes to this, there's a word that we need to use. That word is consistency. A smaller range means more consistent data, whilst a higher range means we've got less consistent data, so there's more spread between all the bits of data. So what we can do is we can say the comment for the newspaper, if we were to look at it from that perspective, the newspaper has a higher interquartile range, so a higher IQR. What that means is there's more spread. And because there's more spread, it's less consistent. However, if we looked at it from the magazine point of view, so we looked at it from the other way, what we could say is there's a lower interquartile range there. What that means is there's less spread, therefore there's more consistency. So we could look at it from either of those two perspectives. The bottom line is you have to make one comment on the consistency involving the range. Now, one thing to note is when you're doing this, you don't have to make a comment about the same thing. So I could have said on average the ages of the magazine readers is lower, but then said the higher interquartile range of the newspapers means it's less consistent. So I don't have to do the magazine comment for both or the newspaper comment for both. I can mix it up. But the bottom line is I need one for each. I need an average comment and I need a range comment. Otherwise, we can't get the mark for that one. It says 2 comments, but you can't make 2 comments on the same characteristic of the data. So this question here, part A is worth 3 marks. So you get 1 mark for doing your median. You get another mark for identifying the quartiles and another mark for getting your interquartile range. And then for part B, you get 1 mark for each statement comparing both of them. So you get 1 mark for a statement comparing the averages. You'll get another mark for a statement comparing the ranges. Just remember, you won't get 2 marks if you write both average statements and leave it. If you wrote both average statements and you wrote both range statements, you'd get both marks. You've just given yourself more work to do. Remember, we're lazy. We want to make sure that we can do this as quick as we can and give ourselves as little work as possible. Now, interpreting these bits of data and remembering how to calculate them when we're given them is a vital thing to be able to do. It's a vital skill that we need to work with. So go away, make sure you learn about all your averages, you learn all your comparative comments, and you learn how to compare 2 different sets of data. If you can come in with those skills and you're ready to go with them, this question won't pose you any issues and you'll find it easy peasy, lemon squeezy.